Hi, I'm Paul. In today's video, I'll show you how to keep track of personal contacts and meetings right inside of Obsidian. I'll share my templates, walk you through exactly how I enter info into my vault, and give you tips so you can set up your own system easily. If you use Obsidian and would like a better way to manage people in meetings, this video is definitely for you. Join me as we explore how to keep track of contacts and meetings in Obsidian. Personal contacts and meeting showcase. Here we are inside of Obsidian. I'm going to start with a showcase. So we'll start with a personal contact. So on the 15th of May, I received a comment from one of my YouTube channel viewers called Rock Video Monthly, also known as Corey. And Corey's just left a really nice comment on my latest video, Obsidian Web Clipper. So I want to capture Corey's interaction with me in my Obsidian Vault so that in the future, if Corey was to reach out to me again, I've got a way to remember my positive interaction with Corey. So back inside of Obsidian, I'll come down to my quick add command and I'm going to run quick add. I'll scroll down and select new personal contact. Then going to ask me the name of the personal contact. I only know their first name, so I'll put in Corey. It's then going to load my personal contact template. So the cursor goes straight to the summary. So I can write a quick summary about Corey. So I'm just going to put Corey is a positive viewer on my YouTube channel. Then I've got a little area for tracking here. So we can expand the tracking and I can put my overall thoughts about Corey. So I could just put something like Corey enjoyed my latest video and left a positive review. I'll put the when we last spoke to the day that he left the comment, which was the 15th of May. Then I've got a little field for where our interaction was. So I'll just select YouTube. Now you notice as I'm selecting and entering this data, it's populating my YAML properties to the right here. And I've also got them hidden here where it will populate as well. I've got a trust meter. So my trust meter for Corey so far is quite high. And then I've got a little section for relationship. So I'm just going to choose social media connection. Then I've also got a section for his nickname or handle. So I'll put his handle on YouTube, which was Rock Video Monthly. And I could even make that a link. I'll just leave it as that for now. Then I've got a section for logs down here. So we've got interactions first. I'll hit the new interaction button. I'm going to say left a positive comment on my web clipper video. And then what that's going to do is it's going to capture the date that I entered and the comment that I've made. And I could also do the same for memorable moments. And I just put my cursor here and select new memorable moment. And I'll just do the same for the memorable moment. Now, if I was recording this on the day, it would put the 15th, not the 18th like it is today. I've got a section here for any important notes. So I'll just leave that blank for now. Personality, I could put positive feedback. We don't have any meetings organized, so I can skip this section. Then I've got a little section here for more info. And if I open up the people tag example, you can see I've just got a wiki here for tags. So if we have a look up in the properties here, we've got people and people contact. So I can add another tag in here. So we can put people social media, or we could put people YouTube if we wanted to make it specific. And then that just adds another tag in there for tracking. So if we have a look in my cards and go down to people, we can see that Corey is added into my people folder. I could put another folder here as social media YouTube and then put Corey into there. So I could go new folder, YouTube channel, and then drag Corey into there. So that's one example. Let's have a look at another example. So say you've got someone from work. So we'll use the same quick add command again. We'll go new personal contact. And this time we're going to put Adam Silverwood from work. And then I'm going to put the summary is Adam is my work colleague. He is a good team player. My overall thoughts is Adam is a hard worker. We last spoke on Friday, the 16th. And I'll just put work as our last interaction. My trust meter on Adam is medium. My relationship to him, he is a colleague. He doesn't have a nickname or a handle, so I can leave that blank. Can then scroll down and add my interactions about Adam. And I'll just say that we worked on a project together on site at client name. Memorable moment will be setting up their email systems. Important notes. Adam knows a lot about networking. Adam doesn't panic under pressure. Adam is a reliable worker. So then I've got 3 important notes about Adam. And personality could be Adam is very approachable. Now, I do have a meeting planned with Adam next week. So what I can do is I can select the new meeting button, and the meeting is to discuss our new project. Now, the time of the meeting is Monday. So I'll put the meeting as the 19th. And the meeting type is going to be a brainstorming session, but it could also be a project. I think we'll put it as a project. The meeting duration is going to be 1 hour, and the attendee will be Adam Silverwood. And if we had more attendees, then we could add more in there. The purpose of this meeting is to discuss our new client project and make plans on how to tackle it. And then we submit that. So now we have our meeting created, and we can put our agenda items, discussions, decisions, action items, follow-ups, or references here. If we scroll back down on Adam's page, we can see that we have the data view capturing the meeting date, the meeting type, the meeting purpose, list from meetings, and the last modified date. So we really just need to populate our data here. So we've covered how to add an online interaction as well as a work colleague and plan a meeting. Let's have a look at how we would add someone famous. So this one is going to be a little bit different depending on how you want to capture the information. But if I have a look here on Wikipedia, I've got an American author called Robert Greene. And Robert's a really good author who's written 7 published books. So I want to add Robert Greene to my Obsidian Vault. Robert has some notable books, The 48 Laws of Power, The Art of Seduction, and 33 Strategies of War. So I can harness the Obsidian web clipper in order to do this, and I could either use my Wikipedia template, but I've got one for a famous person, so I'm going to select this one. And I'm going to add to Obsidian. Now, because there's a lot of information, it's going to take about 7 seconds to add Robert to my Obsidian Vault. So I have my same quick menu up the top here, and I have a little picture of Robert. Then I've got a prompt variable AI summary, which tells me that Robert Greene is an American author known for his books on strategy, power, and seduction. We've got why this person is important to me, the key works or achievements, personality, links, and quotes and inspiration. And then below that, I've got the literature note from Web Clipper, which I've just titled Wikipedia Literature Note. And this just captures all the information from the Wikipedia page. So I could either just take this information and add it up the top here. If we have a look at the source code, the web clipper brought in the majority of the information correctly. So we have a tag for people famous. The source is Wikipedia, got the URL here and the date of birth. The achievements are not really formatted correctly, so we do need to go and tidy these up a little bit. They're also a little bit long, but that's going to make them display correctly down here in my keyworks or achievements. So now that we've looked at how to add a personal contact, a famous contact, and a meeting in our Obsidian Vault, let's have a look what's going on in the back end. So here I have my 3 templates. I have my famous person template, my personal contact template, and my modal form meeting template. If we jump into the source code for each template, we can see that they all vary slightly. So the famous person template, we have some templated code bringing in the date created. We are statically creating our tags. Then for our menu, we have a meta-bind people navigation buttons embed. We're telling Obsidian that when the template is created, to place our cursor where the summary is. And then as we scroll down, we can see that we have a meta-bind list input field for the achievements. We have a meta-bind list input field for the personality. And then everything else is static information that we can add in our template. So earlier when I clipped the famous person, Robin Green, I used a Obsidian Web Clipper template. So if we jump up to the Obsidian Web Clipper and click on settings, that takes us into the Web Clipper settings. And we can see here on the left-hand side, I've got a Wikipedia famous person template. So the template name is Wikipedia famous person. I'm pulling in the schema article name variable as the note name, and it's placing it in the cards people folder. The properties on this template match my famous person Obsidian template. The only difference is the profession is being pulled in with a prompt variable by the AI interpreter inside the web clipper. Same goes for when the person was born and if they are deceased. And then I've got another prompt variable to summarize their achievements. And this didn't output as an unordered list the way that I like. So I had to tidy that up, which I showcased in the video. If we scroll down, you can see that the note content matches my Obsidian famous person template. And I'm just pulling in a selector variable here for the literature note, and I've also got my prompt variable for the summary, and the rest is just meta-bind input fields or meta-bind embeds. So if you'd like to learn more about the Obsidian Web Clipper, check out my video on my channel, Obsidian Web Clipper plus AI. We have a look at the personal contact template. We have our templater snippet of code bringing in the date created. We have our static tags, people and people contact. We have our meta-bind embed for the navigation buttons, and we're telling Obsidian to place the cursor in the summary when a new person is added. Under tracking, we have our input meta-bind text area for overall thoughts. Then we have one for when we last spoke, which binds to last interaction. Then we have a place for where we last interacted, which binds to the YAML property where. We have our trust meter, which binds to the YAML property trust. We have our inline select for our relationship, which binds to relationship. Then our nickname text input field for our nickname. We have some more embeds here for the people log buttons. And then we also have some list input fields here. And finally, our data view query for our meeting, and just a link back to that people tag examples wiki. If we have a look at the meeting template, I've converted this one into a modal form. So I've given it the prefix modal form, and then we have the syntax here for a modal form. So to pull in a modal form, we just need to put these 3 lines of syntax here. And this one is calling the modal form meeting. So if I Control P and type in modal, and then I'm going to select edit form, and I'm going to select new meeting, that will open my meeting modal form, which binds to the meeting syntax here. And then if we preview this, we can see this is what the new meeting modal form looks like. So it's capturing the date, time, the meeting type, the meeting duration, attendees, and what was the purpose of the meeting. And we can see that all of these bind to the YAML properties under name. So now we've gone over briefly how the system works. Let's go through how to build it in our Obsidian Vault. Installing community plugins. So inside the Obsidian Starter Vault Pro, we have some community plugins. So we'll go down to the settings and we're going to go through every community plugin that we'll need. So the first one is Data View. So you can see here I've got the Data View plugin installed. We'll also need MetaBind. So if we come down, we can see we have the MetaBind plugin. This is going to allow us to create our MetaBind buttons and place some embeds. The next community plugin is Modal Forms, and this one is going to allow us to create a nice modal form to enter our personal contact details. The next community plugin is Quick Add, and this is going to allow us to create our commands to add our personal contacts, famous people, meetings, as well as some capture notes. And finally, we want the Templater community plugin. So if you're not using the Starter Vault Pro and you're using the free starter vault, then just ensure these community plugins are installed. And if you don't have them installed, head up to community plugins and just do a search for the one that is missing. How to set up the personal contact template. So now we're going to set up our Obsidian templates. I'll use the Obsidian Starter Vault Pro in order to do this, but you could use the free kit or your own Obsidian Vault. So I'm going to navigate to my toolkit and right-click template and select new note. We're going to call this one personal contact template. And we need to start putting some YAML properties in. So we'll put our 3 dashes to start our properties. And the first one's going to be date created. Then the next one is going to be last interaction. The next property will be CSS classes. Then we're going to add tags. Now we want to put the tag people and also people/contact. The next property will be relationship, location, where, email, phone, nickname, birthday, thoughts, personality, trust, notes, and finally aliases. Now you can add more properties if you like, or you could use some different ones to what I'm using here. We jump into the source mode. That's what it looks like inside of source mode. So the next step is to create our quick menu. So we'll do 3 backticks, type in metabind, embed, enter. We then need to specify which embed. So we'll call this one metabind people navigation buttons. Now we haven't created this yet, so just go ahead and highlight and copy. Now I like to put my embeds in a folder called metabind embeds or metabind snippets. We'll just put it in here. So I'm just going to go new note and then Control V, and that's going to be my metabind people navigation button location. So I'll just go back. We'll set these up later. The next bit will be a call out. So right arrow, square bracket, exclamation mark, summary, enter. And then we're going to put a templater tp.file.cursor, curly braces, space, percentage, right arrow. So when the template loads, our cursor will be placed right here. Now we need to add our tracking details. So we'll do £5 tracking, enter. And then we'll just put the titles in first. So we'll go overall thoughts. We last spoke. Where was our last interaction? Question mark. What is the trust meter? Question mark. Relationship. Then nickname / handle. Left click and highlight everything and then hold down Control I. And that's going to italic those. So the next thing we want to do is we want to put our metabind input fields in here to collect our data. And we'll start with our overall thoughts. So we're going to put a text area input field here. So we can do this inline. So backtick, type in input, square bracket, the name of the input field, text area, then curly brackets, placeholder, and then curly brackets again. We'll type in, how would you summarize this person, question mark. And then we need to bind it to a YAML property. So we're going to bind this one to thoughts. So we'll just copy that one and paste it there. Now, if we toggle back into live preview, we can see that that is working. And if we just type some text in there, we can see that it's filling in the YAML property here. All right, so we'll jump back into source mode and we'll remove that. So we last spoke. So this one's going to be a date picker. So backtick, input, square bracket, the name of our input field, date picker. And then we need to bind it. So colon, and we're going to bind it to last interaction. And if we preview that one, we can see that that one's working. And if we just select a date, we can check that the date is working. So we know that one's working as well. So the next one's going to be, where was our last interaction? So this one's going to be an input field as well, square bracket, inline select. Now, what I like to do with these ones is I like to have a metabind reference vault. So you can see here I've got metabind vault. And then I've just got a reference in there that I copy and paste into this vault. So you can see I've got one here, inline select. So of course my entries are going to be different, but you can always do this. You can just copy and come into here and paste it in and then change it as you like. So that's a nice quick way of doing it. But I'll just type it out so that you can see how the syntax works. So we want our first option. So we need to specify an option and we want it to be an email. Then we need to specify our next option. And this one is going to be forums. And then we need another option. This one will be in person. Then another option, work, comma, another option, phone, another option, Ko-Fi, and our last option, which will be YouTube. Now you could put as many here as you like. Now, another thing you can also do is if you want it to be displayed with an emoji, then you put a comma, then type in email again, and then hold down the Windows key full stop, type in email, and then you could put an emoji before so that when you preview it, it will show with a little emoji in the front. But when you select it, it actually puts the word email in up the top here. Now, we haven't bound it to anything yet, so we need to bind it to a YAML property. So we go colon, and we're going to bind it to where. So we'll put where. And now when we select email and come up here, we can see that email is populating in the where property. If we wanted it to have the emoji, then we'd have to specify it in the first option here as well. But it's totally up to you how you want to do it. I'll just leave it blank for now. All right, so the next one is what is the trust meter? So this one's going to be an inline select as well. So we'll just copy, paste, and change our values. So we need to bind it to the trust YAML property. So we'll change that one first. And then we just want to change our options. So we want high, then we want medium, low, very low. And then we can just get rid of our extra options by taking them out like that. There's always 2 on the end. And then we'll take this one out as well. Then we have high, medium, low, very low, trust. So let's have a look at that. That's working fine. If we hit medium, we can see that medium is populating in the trust. So we know that's working well. And we can also put colors on those as well. So comma, high. And then what we'll do is Windows key full stop. And we'll go a green square on that one. And then medium, we will put yellow for low, comma, low. And low will be orange. And very low will be red. Square, very low, paste it there. So now when we preview it, we will have our color codes there. So that looks a little bit better. So our next one is relationship. So this one's going to be a big one as well. So I'll just copy and paste it to save time. And you can stop the video and have a look at what I've got there. Our last tracking is our nickname. So we'll backtick, input, square bracket, and we're going to put text, colon, and then we need to choose our YAML property. So this one will be nickname. So we'll copy that one, paste. And when we preview that, we now have our text for our nickname. So that's all our tracking. Tighten up the space there we can, and we can also collapse that to hide it as well, which is quite nice. I find these input fields are not the best for styling, so just try and work as best you can with them. Let's go put in our logs. So we'll put a heading 5, logs. We're going to put another quick menu here. We'll call this one meta bind embed. Now we haven't created this one either. So this one's going to be meta bind people log buttons, and we'll just copy that and create a new note in our snippets folder, paste it in. So now we've got that one ready, and we'll just go back. So we've got our menu ready to go, jump back into source mode. And so now we need to put in our heading 3s. So £3, and the first one will be interactions. So I'm just going to hit Windows key full stop, going to choose a speech bubble, and then type in interactions. And then I'm just going to put a list item here. So the next one will be memorable moments. And we want to put maybe a star emoji in for this one. So we'll just use this one here. Then our next heading, which is important notes. So Windows key full stop, choose a notepad. I'm going to put in important notes. Now below this, I want to put a metabind list input field. So I can't do this inline, so I need to put 3 backticks and then meta bind and type in the word input. I'm going to put in my list, and I'm going to curly brace placeholder. And we need to specify the placeholder. So list important notes about this person. And then we're going to bind it to a YAML property. So this one will bind to notes. All right, so now we have our placeholder, our list for important notes about this person. So the next one will be a heading 3, put our emoji, Windows key full stop, and we'll give this one a mask, a double mask, and then we're going to put personality. That's because we've always got 2 faces to our personality. So backtick, meta, bind. This one's going to be a list as well. So input square brackets list. Oops. Then we need to put a placeholder on this one as well. And this one is just going to say list their key personality traits. And then we need to bind that to personality. So we'll grab personality, paste that one in there. Next, we want to put our meeting data view query. Now, we haven't created the meeting template yet. So maybe for now, what we'll do is we'll go Windows key full stop. We'll type in calendar. We'll just type in meetings. And then we're just going to put code for now. And then we'll just go meeting data view query. So we know to remind ourselves for later. Now we have everything in our personal contact template except for our navigation buttons. So let's go create those now. So we'll start with the first one. So we'll select meta bind people navigation buttons, or you can just open it here. So we're just going to open it with the middle mouse button, and we're going to create our navigation. So the first thing we'll do is we'll start with a call out. So we'll go right arrow, square bracket, exclamation mark. And this one is going to be an example. And we'll call this one quick menu. And then we'll hit enter. Then we're going to use some inline buttons. So the first one, we do our backtick button, square bracket. And this button is going to be people. So this one's going to link back to our cards people folder. So you can see it says button ID not found because we haven't created it, but we're going to now. So go into your source view and then right click, go down to MetaBind, select button and call the label, or put a Windows key full stop and maybe put in a person. Now you can choose any here. We'll just do this guy here. I'm just going to put in people index. You can see what it looks like down here. We're going to give it an ID. And this one we'll just call people, and it's going to be hidden. And we need to add an action. So we're going to click the drop down and select open. Then we're going to add action. Now we need to specify what we want to open. So we want to open the people folder here. So I'm just going to go double square bracket people. You can also do a lookup here and just type in people and then select it that way. And it's going to ask me if I want to open it in a new tab. I'm going to say no, and then I'm going to hit insert. So now I have my people index button. Now it's a bit of OCD, but I like to just put quotations around my ID. You don't have to, but I do find that works better. So then if we preview that, you can see the button is still not found. So we'll just click here and then click out again. Now we can see that it's working. If we click that button, it goes to my people page. And then if I go back, it goes back to those buttons. If I come over to my personal contact template, I can see that it's not loading in here yet. So I need to go into my syntax and have a look here. So as soon as I go to reading view, you can see that it's showing here under people index. So I can click that one and that goes to people as well. So we know it's working here. So now we want to add another button. So we want to have a button to add a new person into our vault. So we need to create our next button. So we need to set up a quick add command in order to do that. So we come down and we select our settings. We go to quick add. We're going to come here and we're going to go new person. And we can put an emoji in front of that as well. We'll just choose the same guy again. It's going to be a template. So we'll just add that as a choice. Now we select our cogwheel. We need to choose the new template we created. So we'll choose the personal contact template. Now we need to specify the file name format. So I'm going to turn that on, and that's going to be the value that I enter, which is the name of the person. So we'll do those curly brackets there and put in value. And that's our variable. Now we need to specify where we're putting it. So we'll create it in the folder, and it's going to go in the cards people folder. So we'll add that. So it's going to take our template and put it in the cards people folder with the title that we enter. And then we also want to open it. So we'll select the toggle to open it. Now we can either do a vertical or we can just leave it off and it'll load in the same place. So I'm just going to do that. So now I have my new person. So I want to create the button in my menu here. So I need to select the little power icon, and that's going to put it in my command palette. So now when I close and come back into my buttons here, I'm going to put my next button. So I'll just copy and put my next one, which is going to be new people. I'll just copy that ID and then I'll come down below, right click, go down to MetaBind, select button. I'm going to call this one add new person. You can see what it looks like there. And I'll Windows key full stop, and I might just put a little hand with a pencil. So the ID will be new people. You could put new person, whatever works for you. And we're going to hide it because we don't want it to show twice. And then we're going to choose the command that we just created. So we'll go add action and we'll select change. And we're going to type in person. And you'll notice that that quick add command that we created is now in our command palette. So we're going to select that one and then select insert. So now we have our second button. So let's have a look to see what that looks like. You can see that when we click out, it's loading now. So we have our people index and our add new person. We come back to our template here. We just go load it again. Sometimes you have to go back and go forward in order for it to load properly. And we can see that it's showing there now. So if we select add new person, it's going to ask us, we'll just say test. We'll go OK, and then we can see that it's loaded our personal contact template. So we know that that is working. So that's great. So we'll just right click and delete. All right, so we can close out of our MetaBind people navigation buttons for now. And we'll scroll down and we need to create our log buttons. Go back into our source mode. You can always click the three dots. So we need to create our MetaBind people log buttons now. But before we do that, we need to go create some more quick add commands to call them for our log buttons. So we want a command for logging an interaction as well as a memorable moment. So to do that, we'll go into our options and we're going to log our first one, which is a new interaction. You can put an emoji on this one as well. I'll just use this one here. But this time it's going to be a capture. So we'll select add choice and then we're going to select the power icon again and we're going to come into the settings. It's going to ask us if we want to capture to the active file. We're going to say yes. And then what we want to do is we want to specify the capture format. So we'll tick that on. And the capture format is going to be double square brackets, then double curly braces. We're going to specify the variable date. And we can see what it looks like down here. Then we're going to go colon and we're going to specify the year first, then tack the month, tack the day, and you can see what it's looking like. And then we'll close off our square brackets and that will make it a link. We'll just tidy it up so it works so we can see that it's working correctly. And then we're going to put another tack and we're going to put curly brace value. So that's going to be the value that we enter. So that'll be the interaction that goes here where the value is. So we'll close that one. Now we have our new interaction. So while we're in here, we might as well do the new memorable moment as well. So to do that, we'll come down and we'll type in new moment. I'm going to put a love heart, but you can put whatever you like. That one's already a capture, so we just need to add that as a choice. Select the power icon, select the cogwheel. We're going to capture this one to the active file as well. And we need to specify the capture format again. And it's just going to be exactly the same. So double square brackets, double curly brace, select date, year, tack month, tack day, close with our double square brackets, tack curly brace value. So that's going to be the value that we enter for our new memorable moment. And that's it for that one. So let's come back into our template and we need to open up our meta bind people log buttons. I've already got it open here, so I'm going to open that up. And then I'm going to jump into source mode. You might have to click the 3 dots and select source mode. And then we're going to put a call out. So right arrow, square bracket, exclamation mark. This one will be an example as well. Call this one quick menu, enter, backtick, button, square bracket. We'll make the first one interaction. And we might as well do our second one, which will be a button, square bracket, moment. And that's all we really need for now. So let's go make those buttons. So we'll copy interaction, then we right click meta bind button. I'm going to paste that in as my ID. And then this one will be Windows key full stop. I'll just use the writing hand and I'm just going to put new interaction. We need to hide it. So we'll toggle the hide and we want to add our command that we created. So add action, change, type in interaction and select the new capture command that we created. Then select insert and then we'll do the same for our new memorable moment. So we'll copy the ID, right click, meta bind button, paste that in as our ID, change our label, Windows key full stop, use our heart, and we'll call this one new memorable moment. Let's see what it looks like down there. Hide it by toggling on the hide, add action, hit change, and type in moment and select our capture command, and then select insert. And if you're OCD like me, you can quotation the ID, but it's totally up to you. So let's preview that. So that one's not found. We'll just click here and then click out again. And now they're showing up. So if we go back to our template on the left here and put that in reading mode, we can see it's still not there. So we might go back, go forward. Now we can see our quick menu there. So we've got a new interaction. So when we go here, we just hit new interaction. We'll just go test. That one's working. And then for new memorable moment, just go like that and test. And we've got our new memorable moment. So we know that's working well. So happy with that. So we can just delete that, delete that. You can even probably just put a starting list item there, which makes it look a little bit better. So that one's almost ready to go. We now need to move on to our famous template. Then we'll look at our meeting template and then we'll bind them all together. How to set up the famous person template. Let's now build our famous person template. So go back into the toolkit, right click, create a new note. I'm going to call this one famous person template. Put your 3 dashes to initiate your properties. We're going to start with date created, CSS classes, tags. And for the tags, we'll use people, famous. Next YAML property will be profession, location, website, born, and we want to make that one a date, died, bit somber, but fact of life, personality, achievements, and then aliases. And then if we jump into source mode, that's what it looks like in source mode. So we'll put a placeholder for our quick menu. So 3 backticks, meta, bind, embed, double square brackets. This one will be meta bind people navigation buttons. We'll just use the ones that we created previously. Then we're going to put a right arrow, square bracket, exclamation mark, summary. Then we'll put our templater cursor here again. So we're going to go %tp.file.cursor, curly brackets, space, %right arrow. Start with our heading 3 and we'll put a star, just like this one here. Scroll down, give ourselves a bit of space. Why is this person important to you? Question mark, double space, heading 3, and we're going to maybe select some books, and then we will put key works or achievements. And then we want to put a input list field here. Now this can't be inline, so we need to do 3 backticks, meta tac bind, space input, square bracket. It's going to be list, then curly, placeholder, curly again. What are their key achievements? And we need to bind it to our achievements YAML property. So we'll copy and paste that one. So then we have our first input field. Next one will be heading 3. We're going to put our mask again. We'll just choose this one. Then we're going to put personality, enter, and we'll put another list input field here. So we'll type in placeholder, curly again, and then list their key personality traits. And we need to bind that to personality. So we'll copy and paste that one. The next heading will be heading 3 links, followed by references. And I think we'll just use a chain at the start of that one. We'll type in chain, and we'll put a heading 3 again, Windows key full stop. I'm going to use the speech bubble, and I'm going to put in quotes or inspiration. And this could be like a lookup if you wanted it to be. So I've got a cards quotes folder here, and I store all my quotes in there. So you could quite easily do a selector input field here and look up some quotes. For now, I'll just use a call out called quote. But yeah, you could make that dynamic if you wanted to. Okay, so let's preview how that looks. So we've got our quick menu pulled in from our previous template. We've got the cursor, which will be added here. And then we've got our prompts, and we've got a couple of input list fields and a quote call out. So the only thing I really want to add is a button here to add a famous person. So I don't have to go down to my quick add down here. So to do that, I'm going to go into edit mode, and I'm going to open up my navigation buttons again. They're already open on the left here, so I might just open it there, go into the source code, and I'm going to create a new button. So I'll just copy and paste this one. This one will be new famous. So we'll just call it new famous. Now we need to create a quick add command to create a new famous person with the new template. So to do that, we'll jump into our settings, and we're going to go here. And I'm just going to window key full stop. I might just put Superman, and we'll go new famous person. It's going to be a template. So we'll add that one, and we're going to turn on the power icon. We'll go in and we'll select our new template that we created, and we're going to give it a file name format, and it's just going to be our value. So we'll go double curly brackets value, and we're going to create it in a folder. It's going to go in our cards people, and you could even have famous folder in there if you really wanted to, but I'm just going to keep it in people for now. So we'll tick the open. We don't want to split the screen, so I'll just leave it off. That's it. I'm going to just close that one. So now we have our command. So we can come back down here. I need to grab my ID, which is new famous. Right click, meta bind button. And I'm going to go Windows key full stop, use Superman again. Let's go new famous person, paste my ID, new famous. I'm going to hide the button. I'm going to add my command. I'm just going to type in famous and then add my new famous person. And then I'll hit insert. And so there I have my new famous person button. And I'm just going to OCD my ID, and then I can test to see whether it's there, and it is, and I can click it, and I can put in Superman, hit OK, and there is Superman. Okay, so that's working. So I'll just go delete Superman, and I can see now over in my famous person template, it hasn't updated. So I'll just select a random note, go back, and now I have my new famous person. So I have my famous person template completed with my updated people navigation buttons. Now you could also do some log buttons here if you wanted to, but most of the time with famous people, you're just grabbing the data from Wikipedia or something. So you don't necessarily fill out all this information manually. I guess I just have the template because it's kind of a nice to have. How to set up the meeting template. We'll now look at building out our meeting template. Now this one's going to be a little bit different because we're going to convert it into a modal form. So head up to your toolkit and come down to templates and right click and select new note. We'll call this one meeting template. Then we'll do our 3 tags to initiate our YAML properties. So we'll start with date created. Then we're going to put in CSS classes, tags, and we'll add the tag hash my / meetings. We might put another one, just hash meetings as well. So now we have our 2 tags. Next property will be aliases, and we're going to put in a meeting date. We'll change the property to a date. Then we need to add meeting type. Now you can write these however you like. I just usually always have capital letters in my YAML properties, but I know not everyone does that. I'm going to put the meeting duration. Also want the meeting attendees, the meeting purpose, the meeting status, project, and related. And these are optional. You can make your own up if you like. So then we'll jump into the source code to have a look at what that looks like. So now we have our base YAML to work with. So let's do our meeting overview view. So we'll make that a heading 2, type in overview. We'll start with the date time. We also want the duration, the meeting type, as well as the purpose of the meeting. Then I'm going to select them all, Control I. And now we need to add our metabind input field. So I'll do a backtick and type in input. We'll put our square bracket, and this one will be our date time, colon, and we will bind this to our meeting date. So that's going to be our date time. Duration, backtick, input, square bracket. And this one will be a text. We're just going to give it a placeholder as well. And we'll give it the placeholder of how long. I'm going to bind this to our meeting duration. So we will bind that at the end. Then we've got our meeting type. Now this one's going to be quite long because there's quite a lot of meeting types. So we'll go a new line. I'm just going to type in input, and we're going to make it an inline select. And then we're going to give it a default value. And I think the default value will be none. And we need to specify our options. So our first option will be none. Then we will have our next option, which will be stand up. And I will speed this up to make it quicker for you, but feel free to pause the video once they're all in there. And then we're going to bind it to our meeting type. And we can see it's valid there. So the next one will be our purpose. So we'll make this one an input text area. So square brackets, text area. Give it a placeholder, curly brackets. What is the purpose of this meeting? Question mark. And then that one will be bound to our colon meeting purpose. So we can preview what that looks like. So we can see we've got our date time, we've got our duration, so 1 hour, meeting type, and then we've got our purpose, my purpose. So I guess if you just select everything and just make sure it's populating up the top there, which it is. So I'm quite happy with that. So I can just go remove those entries because I know they're working. Make sure you don't have any spaces after your colons in your YAML. So now we've done that bit, let's go create all our headings. And I'm just going to keep it very basic with heading 3s. So we'll just go agenda items, heading 3, discussion and notes. And you can put emojis before these as well. Go decisions, action items, follow ups, references. And if you want to do a fallback templater automatic date callout, then I'll show you how to do those. Let's just right arrow, square bracket, type in info, meta details, and then you can type in date. And this one will be square bracket, then tp.date.now. So you can see it pre-populates for me. And I just want to select this one and I'll just take that out and then close the square bracket. So I've got my date, and then I can do my week, and then I might just copy it to make it easier actually. Let's copy this there, and then we just need to change this here to GGG. Oh, it does it for me. There we go. So that's my week. Then I can do my month. So we'll just make this one month. And then we just need to come in here and change this one to and year. And that gives us our month. And then we will do our year. We'll just come in here and take out our and just keep our yay. And we'll put our quarter. Let's copy this one again, paste that one. This one is TP date now, but we need to do bracket, quotation Q. There we go. That's what we need, that one there. And then the last one, that's it. I guess the quarter could be before the year. Keep it in order. So there's our time templater details that will automatically pull in the date, week, month, quarter, and the year if you want it. So now we have our meeting template, but we want to convert it into a modal form so that it prompts us for the information once instead of us having to fill out everything manually. So to do that, we Control P, type in modal, select new form, and then we're going to call this one meeting. And then the form title will be new meeting. Then we need to start adding some fields. So the first one we want to add is the meeting date. So we'll take the meeting date and we'll paste it in here. We're going to paste and take out the tag as the meeting label. So this is the YAML property. That's the label. And we need to select date time because it's going to be a date time. Then we'll add our next field that we want to make a modal field. And this one will be our meeting type. So we'll just take our meeting type here and we'll take the tag out there. Now this one will be a select. So we'll select, and then we need to put some static options in there. So we'll go add, and we've already got our options here. So we can literally just copy and paste them in. So go none, and we've got stand up. So put stand up in. Now one thing I don't like about this builder is it's only got save and close. It doesn't have save as you go. So if you save and close now, you actually have to go Control P modal and edit form and then select meeting again to continue on. So that's just something to note because if you've got a big modal, you don't want to lose all your work. So let's go put the other ones in. So retrospect, got training, we've got review, brainstorming. Oh, and you can move them up and down if you like. If you want to put them in alphabetical order, workshop, client call, interview, design, and finally technical. All right, so now we have our meeting type. Next one will be our meeting duration. So let's go add more fields and we'll take this YAML property here, meeting duration, take out the tag. That can be a text field. I'm fine with that. Okay, so attendees, it will be the next one. So we'll take that one, add more fields, scroll down, meeting attendees, take the tag out. Now this one will be a multi-select because we might have multiple attendees and we can look up from our notes. So we're going to look from the cards people folder because that's where all our people or attendees are going to be. And if they're not, we can add them in there. So that's going to be a dynamic. We could tick required because it is required, but I'll just leave it off for now. And then we'll add one more field, which is the meeting purpose. So we'll take this one and put that one in there. And that one is going to be a text area to give us a little bit more room. So we can preview that to see what it looks like. So we've got our meeting date, our meeting type, duration, attendees, and meeting purpose. So we can capture all this information on a modal form in one prompt as opposed to filling it out manually once the template loads. So it's a bit of a time saver. It does take a bit to set up, but it's all good. So we will save and close that one. So once we've saved our form, we want to Control P, type in modal, go into manage forms, scroll down, and you'll see this open in template editor. So I want to open in the template editor. It's going to ask us what fields we want to include in the front matter. So we're going to select all. And then if we scroll down, we can see we've got our template here. So we're going to copy this to our clipboard. And then we're going to close out of that. We're going to come back to our meeting template. I'm going to make a little space here. I'm just going to paste that in to my meeting template. Now I'm going to cut this little syntax here and place it up the top there. And I'm going to cut this one and place it down to the bottom under related. And it's going to replace those three tags there. Then I'll clean up the empty space there. Now, because the modal form is bringing in some YAML properties, I can remove the ones in the form. So to do that, let's bring our modal form back up again. So we'll select edit form, new meeting. So we need to take out meeting date. So we'll remove that because it's pulling it in with this line here. So we'll remove meeting date, then we'll remove meeting type, we'll remove meeting duration, meeting attendees, And we'll also remove meeting purpose. And then we can keep everything else as is. And that is now our modal meeting template. So let's have a look at it. We can now create a quick add command for our new modal meeting template. So to do that, go into quick add and come in and put new meeting. And I might put a calendar at the start. Then it's going to be a template. We'll go add choice, turn the power icon on, then I'll select the cogwheel. I'll choose my new modal meeting template. It's going to ask me for the file name format. I can simply just put the date, tac, meeting, then the name of the meeting. So you could do it that way. Then it's going to ask me where I want to create it. So I'll create it in the folder, and I usually put it in cards, people, meetings, and we'll add that. So that's where it's going to create it. And then whether I want to open it once it's created, I'm going to say yes. And I can do a split if I like, and I'm going to say yes to that as well. So now I have my meeting quick add command. So now we'll test to see if it works. So we'll go down to quick add and we're just going to go new meeting, and the new meeting might be a daily stand-up meeting, and we'll hit OK. So it's going to ask us when. So we'll say Tuesday at 10:20 a.m. Meeting type will be a stand-up. Meeting duration, 30 minutes. Attendees, we'll put August Bradley in there. I don't think he'll be there, but we'll put him in there. All right, what is the purpose of this meeting? Stand up to discuss work items, and we'll submit. And there we have our meeting daily stand up, and it's populated our YAML properties. And we've also got our fields here, and we can hide these if we want to, but then it's going to hide all this. We have our automatic date templater information here. So that is our meeting template. So now we can add this to our people template if we wanted to. So we could go open up our templates. We could go down to our personal contact template, and we probably want to add a log here to add a meeting. So remember that one is our people log buttons. So we'll open up our people log buttons, go into our source code, and we're going to add our new meeting command. So we will right click metabind button, and we'll do Windows key full stop, new meeting, and the ID can be new meeting as well. We'll hide it and we'll add a command, and the command will be our new quick add new meeting command. And then all we need to do is insert and quotations around our ID, and then we'll come up, add our button with our backtick, button, square bracket, and our ID, which is new meeting. And then when we have a look at that, we've got our new meeting, and we can click that one, and we can just do a test again. And we can see that that one is working. So I'll just cancel that one and we'll delete it from there. So we know that is working. That pretty much completes your personal contact template. You now have your meeting template attached. So the final part is adding the data view query in the personal contact template. So to do that, we'll open up our modal meeting template, and we need to also probably open up our modal form. So Control P, modal, edit form, new meeting. And then we've got to create our data view query. So we'll just hide this one to give us some more space. So let's go into source mode. We're going to convert this to a data view block, and we can take out our placeholder here, and we're going to create a table without an ID, and we need to pull in our YAML properties. So we'll start with the meeting date, and then we want the meeting type. What else would we want? I think I'll put the meeting purpose in. And then what we'll do is we'll go meeting date as meeting date, and then meeting type as meeting type, comma, meeting purpose as meeting purpose, comma, enter. Then we want to put the file link as list from meetings. We need a comma again, and we'll put file.modified time as last modified time. I think that's all we'll do. We'll do 5 columns of data to start with. And you can put as many or as little YAML properties as you want here. And then we're going to go from our cards folder, people, meetings. Now let's go see if we've actually got that folder. cards, people, meetings. We do. And there's our meeting. And we will go where it contains curly bracket meeting attendee, so which will be our dynamic attendee from cards people. So we'll put that one in there. Meeting attendees, comma, quotation, and we'll make this dynamic. Templater tp file dot title. We'll close that one. And we're going to sort it with the file dot modified time descending. And we'll just put a limit of 20 on there. And that's it. So if we jump back into reading mode, we now have our data view query. So we've got our meeting that we created already, which is this one. Did we put August in there? Yes, we did. So all we really need to do is make sure August is on this personal contact template, which I don't think he is. So if I just open that up, you can see that one is not. So let's go fix it up. Let's just go delete it actually and start from scratch. So I'll just copy his name and we'll just delete him from there. Just go, and then we're going to go create him. So we'll go add new person, August Bradley. There he is there. We won't put any information in there, but his meeting will show up in that data view query because he has been added as the attendee. And we can see if we jump into the source code, the templater code has updated with his name. I know that's a lot of information to process, but do your best to understand how this all works because it really opens up a lot of possibilities for you inside of Obsidian. Reviewing your system. Now that we've finished our people and meeting system, we can go back and review what we've created. And if we're not happy with something, we can go make some changes before we implement this system into our Obsidian Vault. So taking a look at this system, if I was going to search for an improvement, I would probably convert the people contact template into a modal form as well. That way I don't need to enter my tracking details one by one. I can add it into a modal form all at once. Besides that, I would just start using this system and refining or improving as I go. And if I find something is not working for me, then I can always change it as I'm using the system. I hope this video gave you useful ideas for tracking your contacts and meetings in Obsidian. If you found it helpful, please share it with a friend who uses Obsidian and might benefit. If you enjoyed the video, a thumbs up would mean a lot. It really helps support the channel. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video.